Hey guys, Stellar Christoph here for another Alestrals video. Today's going to be our deck profile on our Froot deck. Shout out to Werts. I know he didn't make these the actual Froot deck, but he's the first person I saw play with it. I saw his profile build. My deck is going to be similar. There's going to be some different changes and stuff. I don't remember seeing his side deck, but shout out to my man Werts. Again, I'm going to say this video is here because of him. All right, guys, let's get started. All right, guys. So again, this is going to be a Froot deck profile build. So you can't go have a Froot deck without Lotagon. Lotagon is the staple in this deck. When you cast Ambrosia or Golden Apple Discord, you can target and destroy a card. So that's multiple times a turn. That's on your opponent's turn as well. I'm only running 2 of these in my main deck just because it's a 2 cost. I don't want to get hung up and have like a bad turn and draw multiple of them and then kind of screw myself long term. But I do have 2, one of them being our Stellar variant Lotagon. Next up, again, one of the other staples for a Froot deck is going to be your Drataya. Every time you play Ambrosia, you draw 2 cards. I will tell you, Golden Apple of Discord, I do not have in this deck, nor my side deck. I see ways that you would want to use it because of the discard ability, but with this deck, and especially with Ambrosia Cornucopia, there's not much need for it, so I don't have that in here. But with the Drataya, I do have the 3 of the promo cards, the Stellars, so I'm going to put those here. 3 of those. Next up is going to be your Viscerus. This is just to have that heavy attacker. If you get all 3 of your Viscerus out, they all have a 7 attack. And then not to mention, when it destroys an Alestral, it brings the next Viscerus out into defense position. So as long as you have counter runes ready to protect it for that 1 turn, you can go ahead and stack the front of your field up with some powerhouses. I do have 3 versions of these, again, with our Stellar variant. And I have a thing about having multiple versions of cards. The Drataya is going to be an exception, but again, I like the look of having 3 different cards, 3 different versions. Next is going to be our Rummer Gem. I do have promo cards for this as well. This searches your deck for a 1-cost Earth to add to your hand. So again, this now, between these 2 and my Drataya, that gives me 5 chances to open up turn 1 with my Drataya or to get my Drataya. Again, if my opponent's kind of beating me down, I can search my Viscerus again to help give me a fighting chance. So I got 2 of those. Pandasin, we have a Nexus in this deck as well, just a side Nexus. So Pandasin's going to be in here. I got 2 of these. Basically, its ability is you're going to disenchant Earth off of this Pandasin to return an Invoke rune from your Underworld and put it to your hand. The main reason for that is going to be, number 1, your Ambrosias. I'm running 6 Ambrosias because of Cornucopia, so I can keep using that ability over and over again for the search function or for the destruction function, but also Earthquake. I run a couple Earthquakes in this deck, so using this guy's ability to bring it back makes a lot of sense, helps me out. Just pay attention to the card text, though. It says you'd have to disenchant. So if you only have 1 spear and you disenchant, your Pandasin, you're sacrificing it to play it. But again, that's why we're running a slight Nexus in this deck as well. Go ahead and have this card out, Nexus another Spirit onto it, and then I can keep using that card effect every turn. Speaking of Nexus, we have our Inklinks. I have 2 of these, including the Stellar variant from the Kickstarter. You can Nexus up to 2. When you do, you can target and destroy a rune. So again, just more destruction for my deck. Again, Lotagon over there, it destroys any card, not just rune, but Inkling, say you want to pop off a big play, you're worried about their face down, you can go ahead and activate this guy's ability. And then also, again, it works with Pandasin to make sure you don't have to sacrifice it to use its ability. Thunder, I got 2 Ash Rabbit. Again, we're going to be drawing cards constantly because of the Drataya effect and because of Ambrosia Cornucopia. So being able to pull the top 3 cards, keep 1, put the other 2 back any order I want, just helps make this make more sense. Helps this Froot deck draw more cards, set yourselves up for future plays. And the last set of Alestros is going to be our Elichix, Stellar variant as well. This one's going to help me search for my Divine Rune, my Demeter. And then also, a side benefit of that, taking more cards out of my deck. So if I'm needing my Lotagon, say I haven't drawn a Lotagon yet, it's going to give me another chance to draw it because we're taking more cards out of our deck. But that right there, guys, that is going to be your Alestral lineup for this deck. All right, guys, now we're going to go over our runes. So Rise of the Depths is going to be the first one, or Rise from the Ashes, my apologies. I have 2 of these in this deck. Again, you're going to be healing a lot in this deck, so you can afford to use this. It is a 3 cost, but basically lets me special cast any Alestral from my Underworld into attack position on the field. So strictly for Lotagon, or if I really need a power play, say if I need a Nexus, then I can bring my Equal Links back. We're going to have our Shield of Achilles. This is always a staple in all your decks. I have 2 of these for my counter support, 2 Gorgons, and 2 Poison Tipped Arrows. Ambrosia, I'm running 3 in this deck. Again, it's a fruit deck, so it's all about having Letagon or Drataya out on the field, playing your Ambrosia card. Not only are you going to heal yourself, but because of one of their abilities, you're either going to draw 2 cards, or you're going to destroy a card on the field. Ambrosia Cornucopia, this was a newer card that was released with Frostfall. They started introducing something called titles. So just like my normal Ambrosia, it's called Ambrosia, but underneath it is going to be the title. So Cornucopia makes it a different card, which lets me have 6 cards for Fruit. So the original Fruit deck, you were probably running Golden Apple of Discord to get that other ability. This one, on the other hand, other than this one, Ambrosia costs you any spirit. This one's costing you 2 Earth. You draw a card, and then you're going to return any number of spirits from your underworld, any type of spirit, doesn't have to be Earth, from your spirit deck, 2 back to your underworld to your spirit deck, sorry guys, for the number of Ambrosias in your underworld. So you don't want to play this card without at least 1 regular Ambrosia in your underworld, because then that's the healing effect. So if I just use Cornucopia, I'm not going to be healing anything. I'm just going to be drawing a card. So you want to make sure you have these guys in your underworld. Again, if you've already played these 3 and 2 of these, your last Ambrosia Cornucopia is going to let you bring 5 spirits back. So all about that spirit recovery. Again, this is most decks you're going to run this card, but you got Earthquake. It's going to help along with this deck because not only am I going to constantly heal cards so I can play it, but with Pandasin, if I need to play a 3rd or 4th Earthquake, I can go ahead and use Pandasin's ability over and over again. Demeter, God of the Earth. I got 2 of these in here. Again, this is number 1 that helps us with our Nexus ability, but also its natural ability is Disenchant from it to give your Celestial plus 3 attack and defense. So being able to hit over stronger cards. Folio Forest, this is going to be your stadium. It's going to power up every Earth Celestial by 1 attack, 1 defense for every enchanting spirit on it. So again, we're going to use a Nexus aspect in this deck. If my, say, Equalings has 2 or 3 spirits on it, using this will jump it up to a 6 or 7 attack. So all about powering up and hitting past your opponent. Add that with Demeter's ability, I can get some of my Celestials up to 10 or 12 attack. And the last card is going to be another staple. It's going to be your Tsunami. You're going to turn any Celestial on the field to defense position if it's not enchanted by water. Again, that's going to be a disadvantage for us because that's going to turn our Celestials to defense. But again, that might help protect. Say my opponent's running a deck with Thunderbolt of Zeus and lowers my Letagon attack and defense by 3. It's going to have a 5 defense. My opponent is going to attack. Same thing, block this defense. Or say it's a water deck and they're not affected by water cards, switching my Letagon to defense mode might actually save it that turn. So just something else to kind of have. Again, this is one of those cards that's a staple in most decks nowadays. All right, guys, next we're going to go over our spirits. Because I got those Tsunamis, I got 2 Leviathans. Again, if I want to go ahead and misenchant one of my Celestials to water or add a water to it, it'll help protect them from the Tsunami switching to defense mode. Say I get my Letagon out, and instead of playing a Celestial the next turn, I add a water spirit to it, then I know no Tsunami is going to affect it. And then also that implies with Galaxy, if my opponent has a Galaxy out and switches attack and defense of water and chain Celestials, instead of being a 7 attack, it's going to switch Letagon to an 8 attack. So just something else to have in the reserves. I'm going to run 2 Zaptors. Again, I'm running a total of 4 Thunder Celestials. But again, I only need 2 because there's going to be so much healing involved with this deck that 2's more than enough. And the last set of cards is all going to be Earth. I got 16 Tyratluses in this deck. Again, just like my water deck, that you guys will see a video on that soon. There's just so much healing involved. So you're going to be taken care of. I could technically add to these, but in my opinion, I don't need it. My deck is primarily Earth, except for a total of 6 cards. So it just makes sense to me to have all this loaded up ready to go. And last but not least, we're going to go over our side deck, starting off with a 3rd Letagon and a 3rd Rummagem, just in case I need those. Again, I don't see a situation that I would, but just in case, we never know what combos we're going to see in the future from other players, so it's good to have a full play set of each on standby. I have 2 Moss Stations. That's going to go ahead and jump up attacks. The only downside for this card, and the reason why it's in the side deck, is it might become a powerhouse. MBT had on one of his videos that it's very comparable to Goblin Attack Force from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to get, the attack is going to get super high, but once it attacks, it's going to defense, and then you're going to be on, you're going to be trying to save it. This card gets +2 attack for each enchanting earth to it. During the end phase, after it attacks, it goes to defense mode. So just summoning him is going to be a 6 attack. If you're going to use Nexus with Equal Links, move 2 more spirits over, this is going to jump to a 10 attack. So if you're going to play this card in your main deck, make sure you play it when you have counter runes available or something to defend it. Speaking of defense, we're adding 2 Vertilith to this deck. I personally have not used it in my decks, but number one, you're going to be able to heal 4 from it. But being able to normal cast a 2 cost is very beneficial in my opinion. The main thing is the only way I can do that is if my opponent has 4 or more spirits in their spirit deck than I do. So that's not going to be happening often. Just something I need to think about. If I'm going against an opponent that say runs a fire deck with Eruption, then this is going to be super beneficial for me to have in my main deck. But when you cast it, you return up to 4 Earth Spirits from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. So again, more healing involved. Between the 2 of them, I'm going to be healing 8 during the game if I get them both out. Next up is going to be our Tectorus. Again, I'm thinking Earth Beatdown along with this deck, so I have an Earth Beatdown kind of subclass in there, in my side deck. But this one gets +1 attack for every enchanting Earth on the field altogether. So again, I got my Vertilith off that costs 2. This one's going to be a 3. That's going to be a 4. So that guy's going to jump to a 7 attack just by having the Elestrals. That doesn't mention if I have Folio Forest out, if I have Demeter out. So again, Earth Beatdown, again, attacking your opponent's heavy hitters. I already got 3 Viscerus in the deck. I got 2 Mustation now, 2 Tectorus. So I'll be able to hit my opponents pretty hard if I need to go that route. Next up, this is going to be something just left field, and I'm going to attempt it. I'm going to try it and see if it's going to stay. But that's Panzer. Another card that was released in Frostfall. This Panzer gets +1 defense for each Earth enchanting it. So again, it automatically jumps to a 4. You can Nexus up to 2, so this gives me my secondary Nexus for this deck. When you do, you can return 1 Earth Spirit from your Underworld to your Spirit deck, or you can enchant it to this Panzer. So again, we're talking about Nexus, being able to Nexus certain cards. This will pair awesome with Equal Links. I can keep bringing cards back from the Underworld. I can have both of them just keep never-ending circle. I can Nexus 1 spirit off of Panzer to Equal Links to bring another one back from the Underworld, and then use Equal Links' ability to send it back to this, and then use that ability to destroy a card on the field. So just a vicious circle, keep dealing damage to my opponent, but also getting more spirits on the field. Again, even if I'm Nexusing those cards on the Tectorus or on the Mustation, powering them up as well. And the last 2 cards, just because I'm all about trying to power up my Elestrals, I'm going to bring 2 Slice of Demeter. My Enchanting Elestral gets +2 attack and defense. When it destroys an Elestral in battle, I get to heal 1 Earth. If Demeter's on the field, I get to heal 2. So again, with the Earth deck trying to heal itself up, but also doing additional damage. That +2 attack works great. If not, that +2 defense. Say I have Lotta gone out and my opponent has a card with a 10 attack. Equip it with Scythe of Demeter. Now it's an 11 defense. Keep it in defense and protect myself. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching the video. If you're new, please subscribe. Every subscription helps. We're on our road to 500 subscribers right now. Like the video. Comment down below what you like about this deck, if you would actually change anything. Once again, I want to shout out my man Werts. Again, this is the person I saw use this deck the first time I've seen it, so I got to give the man a shout out. My name is Stella Christoph. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you guys have a stellar day. See ya.